Imagine this. You're deep in the clouds, relying on your primary flight display, that nice glass screen, and suddenly it just goes completely dark. Panic. Well, not if you've mastered your backups.
Exactly. That's where the fundamentals really count.
So today, we're taking a deep dive into the vital role of standby flight instruments, those analog heroes that are your ultimate lifeline when the fancy screens fail. Our mission here is to understand what truly matters for you, the general aviation pilot flying IFR, maybe in a Cessna-style aircraft, going far beyond just what's on the exam paper.
It's about real-world flying, what keeps you safe.
Absolutely. Ensuring you have that critical information to keep flying safely and confidently, especially if you're prepping for something like your basic instrument rating.
Okay, let's unpack this from a practical angle. What exactly are these essential analog backups we're talking about? Why are they so crucial?
Well, what's fascinating here, and really the key, is that these standby instruments provide crucial attitude and flight information independently.
Independently, got it. That's the word. They don't rely on the same systems. I mean, not the same power source usually, often not the same pedostatic lines, sometimes even completely separate gyroscopes, unlike your primary EFIS display.
Ah, okay.
So we're talking about your classic attitude indicator, the turn and slip indicator, the magnetic compass, airspeed indicator, altimeter, and of course your clock. Each one is basically a separate system. It's your dedicated failsafe, built right in. Gives you that redundancy if the main digital stuff decides to take an unscheduled break.
Right, redundancy. So if my primary display does go blank, what does this independence actually mean in the cockpit? For me, the pilot, maybe learning for my BIR or just out there flying IFR, how do these instruments earn that hero status you mentioned?
Well, it means each one has a really critical, practical job to do if that main screen quits. Your standby attitude indicator, for example, it's absolutely essential for just maintaining basic aircraft attitude.
Keeping the wings level, basically.
Exactly. Keeping the wings level, nose pointed roughly right. It gives you that immediate visual reference you desperately need to avoid while getting disoriented fast. Then you've got the turn and slip indicator that helps you make coordinated turns, maintain a specific rate of turn 2, which is vital for precision work like approaches or holding patterns.
And the compass, the old magnetic compass.
Yeah, that becomes your fundamental heading reference when all else fails. And look, practically speaking, it's not just about knowing it's there. You need to understand its quirks.
Like the errors, lead and lag.
Precisely. Dip errors, turning errors. Understanding those means you can actually rely on it in a real emergency, not just guess. And then airspeed and altimeter obviously providing those crucial flight parameters, speed and height. You need those to maintain controlled flight. Simple as that.
Makes sense.
Even the clock, which seems so basic, is vital for any time-based procedures. Timed approaches, holds. It ensures you're precise when you need to be. They really are analog heroes because they often bypass all the complex electronics. They offer a robust, simpler system that cuts through potential single points of failure in the digital setup.
Yeah.
The power of this redundancy, this independence, it's just essential. These aren't just like extra gauges cluttering the panel.
No, they're a whole separate plan B.
Exactly. A completely separate system, your ultimate failsafe.
Okay, that distinction, knowing what they are versus actually using them, that feels really important. For a pilot learning instrument flight, what's the difference between what, say, an examiner expects you to know and what actually matters for survival, for safety up there?
Yeah, and this raises a really important question. The true value, the real value of these instruments, lies in understanding how to use them effectively under pressure, not just pointing them out on a diagram for an exam.
Right.
Examiners, sure, they want you to identify them, know their basic function. But what really matters in the cockpit, what saves your skin, is the practical ability to switch your scan instantly to them if needed, to interpret them quickly, and, crucially, to continue flying the aircraft smoothly and safely using just them.
So practice is key.
Absolutely. I always tell students, actively practice your instrument scan using only the backups. Even when your primary display is working perfectly fine, cover up the main screen, try flying a timed turn to a specific heading using just the turn and slip and the clock, or hold an exact altitude using just the standby altimeter. Force your eyes, force your brain to work with them.
That sounds challenging but useful.
It is. But that practical mastery, that's what's really critical for safety. It builds genuine confidence. I remember an instructor telling me about a student whose primary display actually failed on their check ride.
Oh, wow. During the check ride.
Yeah. And what saved them wasn't recalling some obscure regulation. It was that immediate, almost subconscious shift to the standby gauges they'd practiced. They just kept flying the plane.
That really drives home the point, doesn't it? True preparedness means mastering the fundamentals, the backups, even with all the amazing tech we have now.
Exactly right. This isn't just about ticking a box for an exam. It's about real-world readiness. It's about confidence when you're up there alone in this soup. It ensures you can handle pretty much anything the skies might throw at you.
So even if your primary systems never fail you, and let's hope they don't, the confidence and the actual stick and rudder skill you gain from mastering these analog backups, well, that might just be the most valuable preparation you make for any flight. It makes you think, right, in this era of touchscreens and, incredible digital displays, maybe the most reliable safety net still looks a lot like it did in your grandfather's airplane. So here's something to ponder. What specific standby instrument skill will you practice next?